Good morning, Western Washington, and happy Wednesday. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and today we're going to take a look at the forecast for the next few days as cold air moves into Western Washington this weekend and temperatures plunge, and we'll also take a look at the potential system we have moving through on Thursday that's going to bring a very, very brief little bit of rain, and we have some fog across the area that we'll take a look at as well. So let's start with that. You can see we're looking at the nighttime microphysics imagery. This is basically a nighttime view of the clouds over the northwest, and you can see that different clouds reflect as different colors on this satellite filter. So you can see you've got some high clouds over parts of Idaho and Montana. There are no high clouds impacting Western Washington, but take a look at all of these low clouds and fog. Basically areas from Bellingham southward all the way down I-5 through Portland, and then out to the coast there near Grays Harbor as well. Some airports in the Puget Sound lowlands are reporting visibility as low as 1/4 of a mile. Some of this may burn off today, but it remains to be seen if the entire area will get sunny or just areas from Everett northward. So let's take a look here at sea level pressure. This is a good way to see kind of the overall pattern. You can see we have some ridging over the area today, but that is starting to break down and is not going to be as strong over the next couple of days here. We have a weak system that's going to move in on Thursday, bringing a few hundredths of an inch of rain. And take a look at this storm system that's going to move down across Alberta and into the Great Plains there, bringing more snow and cold air to parts of the interior of the United States. And as that moves down, you can see that an Arctic high is going to start to build to the north of us here over parts of Alberta and British Columbia. We have more ridging building offshore by the time we get to Friday. And then you can see as this Arctic high pushes south into the United States there, it is going to bring some higher pressure that's going to move down into British Columbia this weekend, especially here. So we're looking at Sunday afternoon. And you can see as this high pressure moves down, that's when we're going to get our colder air moving into Western Washington there as we go into Sunday and Monday there and through Monday into Tuesday. That is going to bring our cold overnight lows, with lows dropping into the low to mid 20s for some areas. So we'll take a look at that in a moment. Let's take a look real quick at precipitation. You can see dry today, then this system moves down from Vancouver Island. You can see very brief rain and mix and some snow in the mountains there. Not really anything significant at all to speak of. Dry by Friday afternoon, and then you can see we stay dry for the foreseeable future here with ridging around Western Washington. So here's total precipitation. You can see a few hundredths of an inch, maybe up toward 2/10 of an inch in some heavier showers there around Whidbey Island, some of the North Cascades there. You can see total snow 1 to 2 inches in the North Cascades, about a ½ inch to an inch for some of the mountain passes. Really very little precipitation in this system. So now let's take a look at temperatures here. This is National Blend of Models high resolution temperature forecast here. This is Wednesday today. You can see highs will reach the mid 40s. If we have heavier cloud cover, this will likely be too high of a forecast and will likely have highs remaining in the low 40s. Go into tomorrow there, even with that system moving through, lots of clouds in the area. Highs only reach the mid 40s, some areas staying closer to the low 40s there across parts of Seattle. And then as we go into Friday, you can see highs drop back into the low 40s. Same thing on Saturday and Sunday, and then Monday as well. Highs in the upper 30s to low 40s across the region. And that will continue into next week with us just staying in the low to mid 40s all the way through next Wednesday. And now let's take a look at low temperatures here. So today, this morning, low temperatures are in the low to mid 30s across the region. A similar thing is expected tomorrow morning there, with lows in the low to mid 30s, higher a little bit near the water there, and then as you go out into some of the foothills, you're going to be down near freezing. But as we take a look into Friday, you can see those temperatures start to decrease significantly with our morning lows there. Lows down into the low 30s for most of Western Washington, mid 30s maybe around Seattle there, and then some of the outlying areas starting to drop into the upper 20s. However, this downward trend continues as we go into Saturday there. You can see Saturday morning lows will drop to the low 30s for the Seattle metro area and areas near the water, and then areas along the I-5 corridor and outlying areas will drop into the mid to upper 20s Saturday morning there, even the coast down to the low 30s. And this trend just continues there. We look at Sunday, you can see lows in the upper 20s for the Seattle metro, rest of the area in the mid to upper 20s there. Some of these outlying areas here, especially Olympia southward, down into the mid 20s, low 20s possible as well. And then take a look at Monday morning. This looks like it will currently forecasted to be the coldest morning in the next few days, with lows around Seattle in the mid to upper 20s. Outlying areas dropping into the low 20s there. You can see down Chehalis 23 degrees, 22 degrees in parts of Lewis County there, 24 in Olympia and Tacoma, and 28 in Seattle, 27 in Bremerton, 25 up in Arlington. So Monday morning is going to be quite chilly. You can see it remains quite chilly on Tuesday morning, still in the mid to upper 20s around Seattle, mid to mid 20s outside of the city, and then outlying areas probably in the low 20s. And you can see on some of these really chilly mornings, some mountain towns like Snoqualmie Pass, Leavenworth, in the upper single digits there to mid-teens. So very chilly temperatures. Even as we go into Wednesday morning of next week, you can see we're still remaining in the low to mid-20s across the outlying areas, and then the upper 20s across some of the metro area and low 30s near the water. So some pretty chilly mornings are coming up. So if you do have any like sensitive plants or something like that outside, be sure to take some precautions for that. Don't leave your pets outside if anyone is doing that. That this is really not the conditions you want to do that in. It's just really hard on your animals, and it is not necessary. So that for Western Washington there, just be careful with these cold temperatures coming up. I mean, lows in the mid-20s are somewhat unusual for us, and it definitely is colder than normal. So now we're going to take a look here at air quality. This is just, as you can see, I talked about this in the last video on Monday there. We don't have very much wind across the next few days here, and that is allowing the air to get stagnant. As we zoom into the Seattle metro area, you can see around Olympia, Tacoma, Seattle, up toward Edmonds and Everett, we have air quality up in the moderate category. You can see outside of the metro area as we get further out in toward the mountains, there are some elevations a little bit higher that air quality is better. However, depending on how much or how little wind we have over the next few days, the whole area could end up seeing moderate air quality like the lowlands are right now. So let's take a look at this again, 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. This has been updated now for January 20th to 24th, so that is most of next week, Monday to Friday. You can see likelihood of below average temperatures across the Pacific Northwest there. And then as we look at precipitation, that trend of significantly below average precipitation continues through next week. However, there are some signs that things could change a little bit. We're looking at the European model ensemble for a pattern called the Pacific North American Oscillation. So basically here we're looking at positive and negative Pacific North American Oscillation, or PNA values. So positive generally indicates high pressure on the west coast and low pressure over some of the interior and off of the coast there, and that when you have the high pressure close to the coast, that usually brings dry and slightly warmer weather in some ways like we're seeing right now, except it is on with the Arctic highs moving down, it's a little bit more on the chilly side. However, we're definitely seeing that dry weather with that Pacific North American Oscillation in the positive. But take a look here as we go into this Arctic high moving through the interior, bringing that cold air into Western Washington. You can see as that happens, the Pacific North American Oscillation is just slightly negative here on the European model. We bounce back up next week, but then take a look at the European model showing sustained negative values for the Pacific North American Oscillation, and pretty low as well, down to like -2 to -3. And that is an indication that we could potentially get more active, that there is a chance for some colder air to get in the area. So this is just an interesting pattern to watch in the long term, because sometimes it can be an indicator of what is coming up. However, don't put all of your faith in this. If you are someone who really likes cold air and snow, don't put all of your trust in a long-range pattern like this, because it can fail, it can change. So this is something we'll just keep an eye on over the next few days to weeks here, as we see if this verifies and if this is a indicator of what could come in the next couple of weeks here. Taking a look at the GFS model, the American forecast, you can see we have agreement on the near term there with that Arctic high moving into the interior of the United States, bringing cold air to Western Washington, and we get slightly negative there, bounce back up, and then The GFS is a lot more uncertain as to when it goes toward negative, but you can see the agreement is there toward the end of January, going down into negative temperatures, or not negative temperatures, pardon me, negative values here on the Pacific North American Oscillation there. However, the control run keeps it right around zero. So there is some disagreement here on the GFS versus what the Euro is showing. So definitely something to watch over the next couple of weeks, but by no means a forecast to take this with a grain of salt. This is something that changes quickly and can change a lot from model run to model run. So we'll keep watching to see if there is more agreement, and I'll be sure to talk about that in upcoming videos. So as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to get notified about new videos here on YouTube and help grow the channel. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter, on Blue Sky, and you can join the Western Washington Weather Facebook group. The links to all of those are in the description. So thank you all for watching, and I will talk to you all later.